Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Gretchen Hidell, full-time astrologer, life coach, Reiki master, and so much more. Welcome to This Week in Astrology. It is Monday night on November 23rd, so I'm going to cover the whole week in astrology from the 23rd all the way until next weekend on the 29th. So welcome everybody who's joining live, having me in your living room or through your computer. Welcome. So whether you're watching this on Facebook Live or on the pre-recorded version or on my YouTube channel, please like and share because that helps to spread the good word. So we have another sort of quiet week in astrology this week. And I haven't been saying that much, in 2020. If anything, it's been a lot of like doom and gloom and crazy stuff in 2020. But this week is actually another quiet week. Remember what I had said to everybody, that November is kind of like March this year, where it comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. And that's kind of like what we're encountering, which is great. Okay, that's a wonderful thing. So welcome everybody who's joining. Say hi, please. Please share your astrological sign. I'd love to hear you guys, your sign, and also where you're viewing from. General area. You don't have to say what street. Don't say that on a public thing. But I'd love to hear where everybody is tuning in from. Corbin, yes, everything's Scorpio pleasant here, he says. Colette, yay for quiet. Capricorn sun from Vermont, awesome. Jane Moon, welcome. Hello. Monica Leo, let's see, this is going fast. Rita said hello, that's my mother. Monica Leo with Virgo rising. Let's see, Maggie, yes, you're still awake for the broadcast, she said. Kate said, hey, girlfriend, how you doing? Sarah, Taurus, Scorpio, rising, Aries moon. Nice, welcome. We're going to be talking a lot about Scorpios tonight, by the way. So let's see, Pisces, we won't talk about you behind your back, so you have to stay tuned. Iris, hello. Aries times 6. Yes, you got it, girl. Cancer moon in Vermont. Juliet, also Vermont. Taurus. Andrea, yes. Aries, Mars direct. Gemini moon, Cancer rising. Rosalie, welcome from Burlington. Julie, Los Angeles, Sagittarius, awesome girl. And Rita, Virgo, Grand Lake, Colorado, welcome. Welcome everybody who is joining me live. I love hearing where everybody's from, and it gives people a few minutes to join the broadcast. So let's get started. Naomi, Sagittarius, yes. Corbin said, no, we wouldn't want you to talk about us behind our backs. That is a Scorpio thing. Nobody likes that, let's just face it, but definitely not Scorpios because they'll chase after you with their little stinger. So we have really, Scorpio is going to be very active, and so is Pisces / Neptune. So we're going to be talking a lot about Pisces, Scorpio, and Capricorn, because we can't talk about anything without talking about Capricorn, but not for long. We have 3 weeks and counting. We have some planets shifting out of Capricorn and going to be heading into Aquarius full-time next month in December. So I cannot wait. Okay. Hello, Heather in Vermont. Chris, hello, welcome. Katrina, East Maine, awesome. Sagittarius, welcome. Virginia, welcome. From New Jersey. Yes, I'm originally from New Jersey, actually, Virginia. I don't know if I ever told you that, but right outside of Philadelphia. So let's get started. So this week in astrology is lighter, okay? And I had to put it in perspective because people were like, I thought you said this was going to be. First of all, it's not rainbows, kittens, unicorns, and glitter because that's not life, okay? That's not how life is. And second of all, remember it's light for 2020, okay? So we have to kind of put it in perspective. But I'm willing to take light anything at this point because it's just been very sort of dark and heavy. So we like to have some light, okay? So all y'all are tuning in on the week of Thanksgiving. And so the days, we're airing here on Monday the 23rd. Mercury tonight actually at 11:40 p.m. Eastern time, so it hasn't even happened yet. But tonight Mercury is going to form a trine with Neptune, the god of the sea. Okay, he's the dude with the trident. And so Mercury is in Scorpio, forming a trine with Neptune in Pisces, both water signs. So even though it's a trine and it's positive, a trine means like we all get along and we're the same element. Water likes water, fire likes fire, earth likes earth. So two fire signs are two water signs are activated right now. Water is feelings and emotions. So if you are a water sign, so if you're one of those two, Scorpio, Pisces, or even a Cancer, or if you have some of that, like some of the people on here, and if you're watching, you're like, I don't know what my moon sign is. You know, some of the folks on here are listing, oh, this is my rising, this is my moon. They're savvy people. They're listing their big three, which is the sun, the moon, and the rising sign. By the way, the rising sign and the ascendant are the same thing. There's two names basically for that same thing. So the rising sign or ascendant, any one of those, if you have a lot of water in your astrological chart, you will feel, you know, when there's a water sign activated. And for some people, that's good. It makes them feel like at home, like everything's lined up, everything's going well. And then sometimes what it does is it just kind of exacerbates the water element. So if you have a lot of water, let's say in your chart already, you'll just maybe feel a little bit weepy or a little bit emotional or a little bit like watery, because water is feelings. So that is like the sort of double-edged sword. Astrology is always paradoxical. Just remember that. So, for example, I'm a super extra fire sign. And if there's a lot of planets in fire, I feel pretty good. I feel zippy. I feel fired up. But then sometimes there's a tipping point where it's like, ooh, it's too much fire, you know? And then I get a little sometimes grumpy or irritable. So that's sort of like the double-edged sword with all these astrology things. So that's today. And will be active for the beginning of this week, just to let you know, is Mercury forming a trine with nebulous Neptune. Now let's talk about nebulous Neptune, because also today and into tomorrow morning on Tuesday the 24th, the moon's going to be also in Pisces. So it's like another Pisces, and you got the Scorpio, and then you got the Neptune in Pisces and all this stuff. So we have the water element activated right now. And so Neptune is the planet of, and let's talk about Neptune, because as we go further into the week, on Saturday, Neptune has been retrograde. It's now turning direct. And I'll tell you what, the one and only retrograde cycle that I actually like is Neptune retrograde. It's not Neptune direct. So usually I'm like, yay, a planet's turning direct and this is great news, except Neptune. And I'll explain that in a second. So Neptune is lies, illusions, delusions. It does have a positive side. It has, it's creative, okay? It's a lot of creativity. If you're a right brain person, so if you are somebody who is like a singer, a songwriter, an actor, or like does some kind of like very, very creative thing, Neptune is your planet, okay? It's a very creative planet. It's a very right brain planet, except for Neptune is very like foggy, fuzzy, cloudy. We call it nebulous Neptune because it's sort of like looking through fog, and Neptune's the ocean. So Neptune in Greek mythology was Poseidon. And Poseidon was not a nice god, just to let you know. I mean, he was vengeful. He's a very vengeful god. So, we talk a lot about Scorpio being vengeful and some other signs, but we always forget about Poseidon, because Poseidon was like a grumpy, kind of fickle, moody character. And he's the ruler of Pisces. So we have to remember that we're talking about Neptune is the ruler of Pisces here. So while today on Monday we have Neptune activated by Mercury, so we might be thinking about our emotions, talking about our emotions, and even if you are, again, in a right-brained sort of like, not everybody works 9 to 5 in a corporate type of thing. Sometimes people are very creative. Sometimes people or do hobbies or do some other type of work. That's great for you. But if you're a super linear person, like somebody who's like real like type A, very linear, this might be harder. Neptune stuff is a little harder to navigate because you kind of feel like you're out of it. What time is it? What day is it? Like, it's like that kind of feeling where you ever fall asleep and then wake up and you don't even know what day it is and you're like, oh my God, where am I? You know, I feel like that is the feeling of Neptune. Neptune can be very like out of it, foggy, fuzzy. Now, I always tell my clients on Neptune active weeks, I always tell my clients, I might be late to our session. I might mix up the times or the dates or something. I might be totally seemingly out of it, but you're lucky because Neptune is great for intuition. So it's really not being in like so grounded in this like physical realm. It's more esoteric, it's more metaphysical, it's more spiritual. And so that's definitely a Neptunian sort of vibration. So that's going to be happening for, you know, it's going to be active earlier this week, but this week Neptune's going to be stationary, direct. Basically it's going to just be stationary. Then on Saturday, so just so that you guys know the time, it'll be 7:36 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Then Neptune turns direct, so it's kind of just sitting. It's like a sailboat with no wind. It's just kind of hanging out. So Neptune is very like kind of active in its, but it's inactive, if that makes sense. It's like kind of almost like the Hanged Man energy, if you guys know the tarot deck. So basically when it comes to Neptune being lies, illusions, delusions, and all that, we don't want it to be direct, because being direct is foggy, fuzzy, and kind of a little sneaky and like sort of covert and stuff like that. So when it's retrograde, it kind of tends to be better, because then the lies sort of like get unraveled. A lot of people on the week that Neptune turns retrograde, or around the 2 weeks around that, often it's like peeling back and we're like, whoa, what's that? You know, and sometimes we learn about secrets and we learn about, you know, stuff that was going on. So unfortunately, when it turns direct, we're going to go back into those Neptunian ways. And so that's sort of the downside to Neptune. Now, whenever these big planets change direction, so whether they're going retrograde, whether they're going forward, they kind of just hang out after that. Like Neptune's going to be direct for a long time until next year. So like 4 or 5 months. It's like, it's one of those planets, it's retrograde half the year and half the year it's direct. We won't have to worry about it being retrograde or direct, changing, you know, direction anytime soon. It only kind of does that, you know, twice a year. It goes, you know, it goes retrograde and then it goes direct. So it's not like it happens all the time. It's not like Mercury, where it's 3 weeks, 3 times a year. That was Mercury retrograde is very frequent. And so we're always talking about Mercury's doing this, Mercury's doing that. So getting back to Neptune, you might notice over the weekend you get kind of tired, kind of lazy. I mean, Neptune is like that. You know, I mean, we have a Thanksgiving here in the United States. We're celebrating Thanksgiving. So sometimes during the holiday time, we get that holiday brain thing going anyway. Now this year is going to be much different for holidays. And I want to know what everybody is planning on doing this year, because, you know, we have COVID here. And it's something that, you know, this year on the holiday, it might be different for you. Neptune, I will say Neptune is linked to depression. Pisces kind of are prone a little bit to feeling depressed, a little down, a little blues. All the water signs really are, you know, and some of the other signs too, like Capricorn is prone for depression as well. But anybody obviously can get depressed. And so it's kind of like thinking about the past a lot, thinking about nostalgia. Now here's the downside: if you have problems with drugs or alcohol, if you have any kind of addiction behavior, sometimes Neptune's very prone to escapism. So if you have, like, let's say a Pisces moon or Pisces rising, or you are a Pisces or whatever, you might be prone to wanting to like zone out, you know, a little bit, and, you know, kind of not being fully here. And so that's kind of like the downside to Neptune and Pisces as well, you know. But on the upside, you could be very creative this week, very, very intuitive. And when we talk about intuitive, I want to talk about being an empath, because that will increase empathic feelings, okay? So I don't know if everybody knows what an empath is, but it basically means that you can feel other people's feelings and emotions as if they are your own. So it's almost like hard sometimes to decide, like to decipher, is this mine? Is this theirs? What is happening? You know, and that kind of thing. Tina said, Thanksgiving, immediate family, no travel, small circle. Yeah, a lot of people are starting to do that this year. I hope actually that everybody does that, because this year we're going to have to be creative. You know, talking about Neptune, talk about the right brain, talk about all that stuff. People are calling it Zoomskiving because people are going on Zoom and spending their time with their family on the internet or remotely through Facebook, whatever method you're using, FaceTime. So Zoomskiving is a thing, you know, this year. That's what we're kind of starting to do. So I want you to think about being an empath. So, you know, under normal Thanksgivings, but even if you're just around a small group, you might still feel other people's feelings and emotions around the Thanksgiving table. And if you're a really strong empath, you can even feel it through a Zoom call. I mean, you can pick up on the energies. So it's good to know what is your feelings and what is somebody else's feelings, and sort of do that litmus test. It's called a litmus test in psychology, where you sort of ask yourself questions like, is this mine? Did I feel like this before I spoke to that person, or did I definitely feel this way after I spoke to this person, or whatever? Because it might not be yours. It might not be your stuff, you know? So if you kind of get a feeling, and it doesn't have to always be negative. It can be positive feelings too, and that's lovely. Like when we connect with, you know, people always say a lot of times to me in readings, I hate this empathic stuff. I wish I could give back this gift. This sucks. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. Well, I would say maybe to revisit that, because, you know, it is a belief in metaphysics that we choose, you know. Eckhart Tolle says, what would you do if you, I can't remember exactly, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's something like act as if you chose this, you know. And so, well, what if you did choose to be an empath? Okay, it's not always bad. If you're like, oh my gosh, if you're like jamming with a group of people and you're a musician, or you're hanging out with like a group of friends and you're just laughing and talking and have a good time, being an empath is fun, because, you know, like let's say you have like a lunch date with somebody who you just love and is like sunshine to you, you know, and then you're with them, and then you walk away and you feel like you're sunshine. That's the good side of being an empath. The key here is, and if you heard me talking about it, the key here is surround yourself with some good people. Okay, that's the good side of being an empath. It makes you really look at your friend circle, and it makes you really look at people who are surrounding you all the time. I love the quote by Jim Rohn: you are the lump sum of 5 people who you spend the most amount of time with. Okay, well, yeah. And if you're an empath, that is extra, extra true. So that can be a good thing. But the key with being an empath is to have, you know, surround yourself with a team and surround yourself with very good people. But what if you're at Thanksgiving and you're around people that maybe is your family, or maybe is the narcissistic uncle, or like whatever? That can be a downside. Okay, of course, that can be the downside of having being an empath. And then you need to protect yourself. Okay, and so, you know, I'm always talking about the dark colored stones. So like hematite. And you know, I always wear these like constantly. Hematite, this one in the middle here is by Opulenza, which I sell on the side. It's just like a hobby because I love jewelry. I'm Leo rising, I can't help it. But this is my Opulenza bracelet. This is hematite, hematite and then silver balls. Okay, and it's just beautiful. But any of these types of things, like any stuff like that, can really help to ground you, really help to bring you into center. Grounding yourself is good. Of course, smudging yourself. You can always take a nice Epsom salt bath after you've been with like a big group of people or something. Taking an Epsom salt bath can really cleanse and clear your energy. And, you know, it's okay to feel other people's feelings and emotions, but that's where, so I'm what they call super empath, because I can feel other people's feelings and emotions like times 10. And I use that obviously in my sessions. In fact, when I do medical scans of people's bodies, I actually feel it very briefly in my own body, so that I know that, you know, what's going on with another person. And so that's being an empath. But the key is not to hold on to that stuff. The key is to dump, allow it to come through you. And I always say, dump it out the bottom of your feet. And just let it kind of wash through you. Okay. So that's one of those things that is helpful. And the other thing is, as an empath, you gotta know yourself. I mean, I would say anybody, people, we should know ourselves. We should really know ourselves and be connected with ourselves. Love yourself, you know, and have that good, really good basis and foundation. Because the problem with being empathic, and I'm not going to say I don't struggle with this, because I actually do struggle with this sometimes, is that you get almost like you're getting sucked out to sea. Okay. It's like a tide comes in and it pulls you out to sea. And so, speaking of Neptune and Poseidon, right? So the key is, the anchor is actually you, and knowing yourself really well. And you might have to check in. I have a very tiny little circle of friends I'll check in with, and say, is this me or is this that? Or, you know, and I try to separate myself from situations and like take that objective look. And that helps too if you're an empath, instead of getting sucked out with other people's wants, other people's feelings, other people's needs, other people's demands, that can pull you out as well. And so it's good to kind of stay into that center and check in. And if you feel yourself getting pulled, check in with somebody that you know, you love, and you trust. Or if nobody's available, I love journaling. So writing, you know, down your feelings, your thoughts, like, and sometimes it's good because you can look back and be like, yesterday I was just saying all this, and now today I'm changing. Why is that? Oh, I was around this really like domineering, overbearing person that was maybe making me change my mind about something that I love, you know, or whatever. So that's something that is really good as well, that you can look at yourself more with an objective sort of look. And especially when the tides of Neptune get really stirred up and you know, start acting up, if you will, that can really pull you out. And then it starts, when Neptune starts to get active, it's again, it's that cloudy, foggy, fuzzy feeling of like, God, you know, it's almost like a vagueness, you know, or you know, having like an ambiguity about something. And so you want to be able to kind of like sort out what is this, and why do I feel this way? And we might have this confusion leading all week, even into this weekend, as Neptune is doing its turning direct process, which basically means it's not moving right now. It's just kind of sitting. Sailboat, think about it, it's like a meditation of sailboat with no wind, you know, it's just sitting in the waters. So we're just marinating in that Neptunian energy. So that's the thing. Now everybody likes to know, how's the holiday look? Well, the holiday itself doesn't look too bad. All day the moon is in Aries, so we got to watch. Aries can be anger, but it also is lively and can get us going, you know, if we want to get up and, you know, start cooking and doing a bunch of things. That's good. Aries has a lot of energy. So all day the moon will be in Aries on Thanksgiving Day, the 26th, until about 6:46 p.m. Eastern time. So earlier than that if you're out on the West Coast. And then it switches, it goes void of course. And then at like 10:43 p.m. it switches into Taurus that night. The only thing about it is it does form 3 squares that day. The moon in Aries forms 3 squares with all the planets in Capricorn. So there could be a little, you know, kind of feeling. But I'll tell you the next couple of days. So the other planet that's active, if you saw my little write-up that I had posted, is Mercury, and Mercury's in Scorpio right now. So on Friday the 27th, Mercury is going to form a sextile with Pluto in Capricorn. On the 28th, Saturday, Mercury is going to form a sextile with Jupiter in Capricorn. And then on Monday, Mercury will form a sextile with Saturn in Capricorn. Okay, so it's going to form a sextile with all three of those things. So what's a sextile? Okay, so remember how I talked to you guys before about, like, you know, there's squares, there's sextiles, there's conjunctions, there's all these words, right, that we use in astrology. And I like to tell you guys, because there's a lot of astrology buffs out there that watch this, that like to know the exact things. And I say that for you folks, and I call it speaking astrologies, okay? But sextiles in astrology are considered to be positive, okay? In other words, it's something that usually presents opportunity. Sextiles usually present opportunity that it takes action on your part to bring it to fruition. Okay, so it's like, boop, here's a little opportunity, but you got to do something with it. Like, you can't just, or it'll just go. So that's basically what the deal is with a sextile. So that's why I'm excited about this, because that's a good thing. Now, the only thing is, we have to take into consideration the planets that it's hitting, and it is hitting Pluto, and it is hitting Saturn. So there's a little lesson in some of this, you know, for us, because we have to always remember the players that are involved. It's sort of like saying, I had the greatest conversation with Saddam Hussein today. Like, you know, it's like, okay, you know, you got to remember the players, okay, like, that are involved with all of this. So it's not just sextile and trine and, you know, all the words that we use and how it's being aspected, but it's who are the players. So Scorpio and Capricorn in life are usually besties. I don't know if any Scorpios and Capricorns out there notice that about each other, that you guys like each other. That's good. And so they get along. So it's water and earth, and Earth needs water, especially in California and Colorado and all those places. Earth needs water. So again, they're very good together. Now they do tend to be very deep and very sort of like strategizing. Could be conniving, okay? You know, it's almost like they're telling each other little secrets. But this is good for strategy stuff. This is good for planning. This is good for organizing. This is good for, you know, and it's good for all this communication stuff. So Friday, Saturday, into Monday even, over the weekend, so pretty much the whole weekend is going to be under the spell of Mercury highlighting these big three planets in Capricorn. So we could get quite a bit done, and we could have a lot of productive conversations this weekend. But they might be about deep feelings and emotions, you know, because we got Scorpio involved there. Scorpio wants to solve puzzles, wants to dig beneath the surface and find out all the little secrets. So we might be talking a lot, especially on Saturday, because Saturday, when Mercury forms the sextile with Jupiter, Jupiter makes everything big. So we might be like, I can't shut up. All your friends might be calling you, and like, you know, everybody wants to get together. So in a weird way, like, the energy of Thanksgiving is a little bit subdued, but then after Thanksgiving it's like an explosion. So it's going to be kind of crazy. Black Friday might be crazy, and, you know, Cyber Monday, and I don't know all the names for all the different ones, but it's going to be a little bit like just a lot. And, you know, we got to remember that COVID's still going on, and there's still like so much happening, that we want to make sure that we're safe, we're protected, and we're good. Because remember, COVID's not over. I mean, like, it's not even over by far. So we have a lot of we want to be careful, because the problem is we're gonna want to get sucked into like holiday parties, holiday gatherings, like, you know, all this Mercury stuff wants us to reach out and talk and hang out, and God, I miss these people and they miss me, but we have a little while longer to go. Okay. Like with the COVID stuff, we have, you know, it's not going to be over. these planets are still very active, and even getting into December, there's more stuff coming, 2020 type stuff, okay, coming. I've talked about some of that on the previous episodes that I've done. But so let's try to just do it. It's just one Thanksgiving, so let's just try to do it as safely as we can. We have a lot of people that are commenting here. Oh, a lot of people like the bracelet. Thank you. Tara said, I struggle with feeling other people's emotions and energy. Absolutely. As an empath, maybe good that you'll be alone, Gail said. Oh, I'm sorry, but yeah, true as well. Small and festive dinner with your mom, Iris said. That's good. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, Jane Moonwolf said, I'd so much rather be an empath than a narcissist. But then we all have to learn, all my life lessons through them, of course. Yes. Oh, empaths and narcissists, by the way, usually attract each other. And if you guys have any questions about that, I'd love to talk about it if you want to know about that subject or not. Nora said, I usually have to take a salt bath, smudge, use argonite and rainbow fluorite as an empath. Yes. I was just saying that Epsom salt baths in general, but just even like the plain old Epsom salt that you can get at the grocery store is great to use that. Yes, Iris said she has 2 friends that she double checks in with. So that's the good thing, like when we're empaths, to double check, to check in with people and say, hey, what am I doing here, and kind of do that check-in and that touch base. So we are coming up to next Monday night, and I'll be doing a live broadcast next Monday, but I want to give you a glimmer of what's going on because it's going to happen early in the day on Monday. So I'll be airing live on Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys mark your calendar, I'm live every Monday night. But next Monday is the big full moon lunar eclipse. Now I told you guys November comes in like a lion, goes out like a lamb, except the last day. The last day, okay, of November is the big lunar eclipse, and we're getting into another eclipse season. We call it season. So this year, usually it's kind of normal to have 3 or 4. I think we had 6 eclipses in 2020. I mean, it's crazy. 2020 is pretty crazy. In case you hadn't noticed. And so we're going to be having, I'll talk about this more next Monday, but at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time, early on Monday morning, or really even overnight for those of you on the West Coast, between Sunday and Monday, we're going to have the full moon lunar eclipse, 8 degrees Gemini. It's going to be in Gemini. And so there's going to be that, and it is going to be a lunar eclipse. Now we'll have another solar eclipse, new moon, and that's going to be taking place on December 14th, and that'll also be on Monday. But eclipses usually always come in pairs, and so a lunar and a solar. Lunar happens during the full moon, solar happens during the new moon. So the next 2 eclipses, the first one's gonna be in Gemini. The new moon is going to be in Sagittarius. So we will have a lot there, okay, coming. It is a lot, more energy. So you might be, so as we go through this weekend, we have all this mercurial energy. Then the full moon on Monday is going to be in a Mercury ruled sign, Gemini. So we might be feeling Mercury extra. Okay. And again, talking, communicating, being lively, being active, wanting to share, wanting to be. This weekend's going to be busy, I think, and you might get lots of invitations, and you might have to pick and choose, and you might have to say no. That's going to be a thing. You might have to say no because of COVID or whatever. People are kind of getting a little stir crazy, and they're taking extra chances. And so, however you feel about that, I'm putting my 2 cents in there. Okay, so Kate. Oh, everybody wants me to pick cards, so we're gonna start doing cards. Oh my God, Colette said, empaths and narcissists are my favorite topics these days. Oh no, Monica married a narcissistic person, did not go well. No, that usually doesn't go well, Monica. Tara said, let's see, brokenhearted. Oh no, you found out something about your Scorpio boyfriend. You think he might be a narcissist, but you're not sure. Okay. And Kate said, let me see, I'm just trying to read really quickly. She wants to know about money, honey. Tara said, yes, please talk about narcissist and empath attraction. Let's see, new relationship. Yes, there's a lot of people talking about this. So, well, the thing is that we attract each other. Empaths, maybe I'll do another whole episode about that. I could do many episodes about that, I'll just say. But I'm going to talk about it in a different way than some of you have maybe heard, because you might have been listening or watching or talking about like psychology, okay? And, and that's very helpful, by the way. I look at it in a spiritual sort of way. So I'll just give you a quick thing, and then I'll move on to some questions. But what is the relationship with empaths and narcissists? And there's a lot of empaths on this live broadcast, first of all. So you might know narcissists. And narcissists, by the way, they say roughly 1 in every 25 people are narcissistic. And that means that if you go to the grocery store, you run into 1 or 2 of them, 25 people is easy to see. So we all know people, in other words, that are narcissists. And so what's the attraction? So I'll just talk very briefly about, from a spiritual standpoint, because I don't ever hear people talk about this, but so you've heard me just talk about how we have to not feel everything, how we have to not take on everything, how we have to not always blame ourselves, how we have to that's from the empath thing. Narcissists have to learn all that stuff, right? Narcissists have no empathy. So, and no, you can't change them. This is the way that it is. So when somebody is narcissistic, they have to learn how to not take things on. They have to learn how to take things on, how to feel other people's feelings and emotions, how to put themselves into someone else's shoes and go, God, that would suck if somebody did that to me. Maybe I shouldn't do that to somebody. They don't have the ability to sort of do that. And so each person, the narcissist and the empath, has something to learn from the other person. And actually, I've seen some real beat up empaths come to me in session going, oh my God, I just had a relationship with a narcissist, and they're drenched in sweat, and they're tired, And then I say, well, what if I said you had to break up with each other? Or what if I said, they're like, oh, fine, whatever, who cares? See, they learned the lesson of not taking it on because they're so beat up from the situation that they're learning to turn off. It's a horrible lesson, and it's a bad way to learn it. Now, I always say, if you can learn these healthy strategies like I just gave you in the broadcast a little earlier, if you're just joining, by the way, go watch the replay, because I gave some real healthy strategies of how to be an empath and gain clarity and gain perspective and be able to kind of dump the energy. We don't have to get involved with someone that abuses us so that we turn off. That's the lesson. And their vibrational lesson is, because we're always saying to them, the narcissist, put yourself in my shoes, put yourself in my shoes, put yourself in my shoes. And they eventually do. They can. It's that much, but they can do it. Studies have actually shown that. Studies have shown that they can do it. If they're constantly reminded of it, they can actually learn it. But it's learn it? Do they ever fully get it? Do they ever change? No, they don't. It's just maybe they get it a little bit. So that's kind of the draw. we do a dance together. We do a dance. They're real attracted by us because it's like sometimes we're attracted by something that we lack, but we wish we maybe had more of. I always see narcissists either end up with one of two people. And if you guys had a private session with me and you were dating a narcissist, you heard me say this. One of two people. They either go out with other people who are also disordered, okay? So they have some problem. And sometimes they get together. The two disordered people get together, and then they rock that whole thing. But usually, a lot of narcissists go out with really lovely empaths, like people who are the most kind, caring, nurturing, loving people, people who are nurses and people who are teachers and people who are caregivers and wonderful people. And they're drawn to us because it's almost like we're shiny to them, because it's like, look, I have everything you don't have. So they're like, I hate to say it's kind of like a tick, like that comes and wants to pull it out of you. But what ends up happening is it's like a tick gains blood, right? But they don't really ever fully gain other than getting narcissistic supply. But it's almost an insatiable thirst for your supply. So once they run out, they suck you dry, right? And we can finally say, peace out, I can't take this anymore. I'm done. And you finally turn off your feelings. Then they go to another host. That's usually what happens. That is usually what happens. So that's the thing. So we have to kind of be a little bit weary of people who are extra charming and extra, usually about the studies, again, in psychology, 6 to 12 weeks. I'm not a therapist, by the way. I just know a lot about this. 6 to 12 weeks, usually, they are very charming in the first initial, and then you start to see little red flags. But some people have said to me, their narcissist was never really that charming, and they started seeing flags right away, and they still ignored them. So that is the thing. So if you learn to love your empathic self, and that you don't have to give away your empathic self, you can love your empathic self, feel other people's feelings and emotions, but also not learning the art of not taking all of that on all the time and feeling, bogging yourself down with, oh God, that must be awful, and and putting yourself constantly in someone else's shoes. You don't have to attract one of those people that sucks you dry. You can just be you and love that you have this beautiful gift. It's a gift. Being an empath is a gift. But it's almost like moths to a flame, and sometimes those narcissists and the creepy crawlies come because there's a little extra sparkle that you have. And that's not a bad thing. It's just learning how to have that little bit of a protection. You don't have to always be a bleeding heart, right? So let's see, we have a lot of people talking about this. Yes. Yeah, you can, Katrina said, in any parking lot you can encounter technically a narcissist for sure. So Lisa said, is it possible, or somebody said, I can't tell who it is it possible to be an empath from a narcissist? And Jane Moonwolf, who is a therapist herself, which is awesome that she's on this broadcast. But no, it's not possible to be an empath and a narcissist at the same time. They literally have no empathy whatsoever, which is why they love hanging out with an empath, because it's almost like, ooh, you can do that thing I can't do. It's very sparkly to them. But I have met narcissists that can be intuitive, and in fact sometimes they're very good at reading situations, and unfortunately using it in a negative way. I mean, like, I have seen some narcissists that are very, very intuitive, and they're quite dangerous. They can be dangerous, those narcissists, because they just kind of know things, and then it's like, oh God, but they're not truly empathic. No, none of them are empathic. Lisa said, narcissists seem empathic because they study you in order to manipulate you. Yes, that is absolutely true. They do, and they do study people. But I have absolutely met narcissists that are intuitive. I mean, being intuitive doesn't mean that you're a good person. it just means that you're intuitive. You just have a gift and ability. And if you think of any type of thing like that, it's like having a weapon in like someone's bad hands, and that's why I always say I use my powers for good versus evil, because that's a real thing. I mean, I honor the gifts that I have, but those narcissists don't. So we could talk more about this if you'd like. And definitely next week, if you guys have any questions for me, I'm going to start pulling cards for people. I know a lot of people earlier wrote questions, but I don't remember any of them. So if you guys could write your question again. I only answer like 2 or 3. And then I'm going to pull a general card, one that is like applicable for everybody. I call it the universal card at the end. Sarah said yes. Okay, that was my next question. Can they be intuitive? Absolutely, they can be intuitive, and it's kind of scary. Just saying, it really is scary. Okay. Katrina said you cared for a narcissist. You learned self-respect and kindness. Yeah, that you have to. Chris said, okay, she wants to know about a new relationship. I love all you guys are like, oh my God, I dated a narcissist, or I was with narcissist, or whatever. Yeah. Oh, spiritual narcissist. Oh, we could talk about that, Nora. Because that happens. It's like Bikram. If you guys know about that story, Bikram yoga, the man Bikram who founded that was a complete narcissist, possibly a sociopath, possibly a psychopath. They can come in anywhere, they can be in any level. I mean, they can be very low level where they're in jail, in and out of jail, and all kinds of things, or they can be very high level, and they can even be in the spiritual community, because they actually will seek positions of power. So even if it's in a spiritual sense, you think, that wouldn't be the case. But yeah, I have seen that happen for sure. So I'm sorry. So Chris, I want to answer your question about your new partner. She wants to know if she met a new person. Chris, answering that question. Oh. Are you guys going to take a trip, or are you traveling, or something going on, Chris? If you could answer, there's like some kind of a travel type of thing here. Also, I do feel like, or maybe one of you is away from the other. That's another possibility here. It feels like I like this person so far. I mean, I feel a good thing with them. That's not a romantic card, but it could be, again, a trip or some kind of a thing where you guys are going away. But it feels like there is a lot of good energy around this person, a lot of like good conversations. I'm hearing a lot of talking. I'm hearing a lot of Chris said talking about taking a trip, taking a cruise when COVID is over. Yes, I actually see you guys doing that. I see you guys taking a trip, but there's a lot of talking, communicating, like this person I like, and they keep coming toward you, which is good, okay? Which is good. Allow. Remember, your job is to receive. So I talk to a lot of people about dating and relationship coaching. Chris said we talk a lot, very deep conversations. Yeah, you're getting also the card of Mercury. And also this is a long-term goal that has been realized. I love that you met this new person, and I would say keep going. You're in the information gathering stage, keep going. So I love that like all of you are still talking about this. Nora said she dated a con artist. Had them all fooled. Tara said, heartbroken about Scorpio X, who may be narcissist. Not sure what to do about what she recently learned. So let's talk about Tara. I'm going to pull a card for you. Yes, Chris, this is good. I'm giving you a thumbs up on that one. All right, so let's give Tara some good energy, because I feel like her energy is kind of mucky right now. She's sad. She's sad about her Scorpio boyfriend. So You know, Tara, there's a lot of anxiety around this, a lot. This is the card of anxiety. So there's a lot of anxiety around this question. And there's a lot of fighting. I don't know if you guys had a full out fight, but this is Mars, the god of war. This is Uranus, card of Uranus and card of Mars. Okay, so there's a lot of fighting and like kind of maybe bickering or something. I feel like he was not completely honest about something that was in his past. It feels like possibly a recent past thing too. It wasn't even like 10 years ago. It feels like it was more recent, like a few months ago. Where I said I did this thing and it turned out it wasn't a thing that he had did. It literally feels like there could have been another situation, another third party situation, possibly another romantic third party is what I'm saying. And I feel like he was not maybe like lied through omission, you know, like didn't really say the full thing, or kind of said, it's almost like what I'm getting is similar, not the same, but similar to like, oh yeah, I went to the store and came home, but then he didn't actually, like he like did this whole other thing, but didn't tell you. Like, and I feel like it's not cool. Like it feels like an omission kind of feeling. And so it's hard for me. I mean, on a live broadcast, I'm not sure if he's a full-blown narcissist. I would have to like really talk to you. But I mean, that's not cool. We'll just say that's not cool. Whether you have a label or you don't have a label, that's still not cool. And I don't feel like there's like deep roots with this person just yet. So it's not even like, you know, Tara, do you mind saying like how long you've been seeing this person? Because it doesn't feel like deep roots. It like 10 years. It feels like it's 6 months or something, like, or 3 months or something like that. Like it feels like it's a short period of time. So my thing is like, if they're already doing that, yeah. All right. That's the breakup card, my dear. You can see where she's like going that way, he's going that way. So, I mean, I would say, and believe in yourself, because Magician came out and that's believe in yourself. So I would say this, like, remember that when you're in the information gathering stage, it's one of those things that you're just gathering information, and he's showing you this information. You know what I always say to people when they have, like, when I'm doing dating and relationship coaching, so people will say to me, oh God, I can't trust people because, like, let's say I tend to date people who lie, who cheat, who steal, blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, okay, all right, that's good. Okay, so think about that person that you dated, and then go back. And when did they show you, Maya Angelou, when did they show you who he really was, or she was, right? So when was that first moment when you were dating and you got the red flag? It wasn't a yellow flag, it was a full-blown red flag. When was that? And then they'll say, usually, third date, second date, 3 months, whatever it is, okay? And then I'll say to them, and then what did you have to tell yourself in order to keep going? And then basically it's one of those things that they'll go, oh God, yeah, I had to tell myself, well, maybe that wasn't true, or maybe they don't really drink that much, or maybe they don't really cheat on all of their girlfriends in the past, or they don't really do all these different things. Do you see what I'm saying? So I always say, what did you have to tell yourself to keep going with that person? Because Tara, you're right at the crossroads. And I know Tara said that, what did she say? She said, yes, he definitely omitted a lot in capital letters. We are not arguing. And it's been 3 months. Got it. So, all right. But you got Mars, the god of war, that came out with that. Or he was lying about sex, because Mars is sex. But either way, it doesn't matter. Lying is lying, right? So what did you have to tell yourself to keep going? And then people will be in these like 5-year-long relationships, and they'll go, And I'll say, but when was the first time? And they'll say, oh my God, it was like 3 weeks in or 6 months in. And then they keep going. And then it has to be, so how bad does it have to be? How bad does it have to get in order to say, well, if that's not bad enough, but this other thing. And people have said to me all kinds of, like, sorry to say this, but crazy sort of things. Like, the people have said to me, well, it's not bad until they lie about this and this and this, or it's not bad until they steal all my money, or it's not bad until, I mean, sometimes, especially if any of you out there have had any kind of trauma in or childhood stuff in your background, sometimes stuff has to be really bad before we'll leave, because our bar for, like, really hard things is actually pretty high. Like, we can withstand, if you're a person who's scrappy and who's a survivor and who is badass, the problem with that is that sometimes you can withstand a lot of bullshit, basically, in relationships. And so I would say to you, how much is enough? How much is enough, and what would it take, you know? And in 3 months, when you're in a dating relationship, in coaching, just to let you know, dating relationship coaching, the 3-month marker when you are dating somebody is 90 days. And 90 days is actually when they say the mask comes down, or you're dating the representative. Like, in other words, for the first 3 months, you're on your best behavior, and she's on her best behavior, or he's on his best behavior. Whoever your partner is on their best behavior. You're dating the polite, the thank you, oh no, this and that. You want to be your best self. But at 3 months, there's a magic number here. The 3 months is when the mask comes off and our real selves start to come out. And they say 80% of relationships do not make it past 3 months because of that. Because we start to learn and we start to see and we go, oh my gosh, okay, got it. That person's not really that polite or really that honest in your case. And so then you have to make a choice, and you have to kind of say, but you're just information gathering for 3 months. And how long do you have to work? I always say, how long do you have to work at a corporation before they give you benefits? Before they give you sick time and 401k. And some people, it's 6 months. But usually around 3 months, they start giving you, that's when you can accrue sick leave, or you can accrue some vacation time. But companies don't give you full benefits until you've been there at least 90 days, or even sometimes 6 months. So we can't, when we first date people, if you're dating, if any of you out there are dating, or you're single or whatever, this is great relationship advice. I'm answering Tara's question, but this is general good dating and relationship coaching. You don't want to give full benefits. You don't want to give wife benefits or husband benefits, okay, to somebody, because they haven't proven themselves. We don't know yet. You don't know them yet for at least the 90-day marker. So this is all really good information gathering. And if some of the information you're getting from this person, like in your case, Tara, that they're a liar, or let's say the person's a hothead and has a real bad temper, or let's say the person, does whatever. Turns out they're not really communicative, and you want a real communicative person, whatever it may be. At that 3-month marker, that's kind of when everybody starts to decide. And again, 80% of people don't make it. 80% of couples don't make it through the 3 months. So I hope that helps. So I am going to pull a card for Lynn, and then I am going to pull the collective card for everyone. Hope that helped. Yes, give me likes and shares for people who appreciate that. That's good. Good stuff right there. It's Dating Relationship Coaching 101. Okay. All right. So, Lynn, very quickly, I'm being told to change decks. So, okay. I always listen to my spirit guides, my guardian angels. When they tell me to switch decks, I switch decks. So, that's what they tell me. That's why I have like 20 different decks. All right, Lynn. Lynn. All right, so what do you need to know, Lynn? Ooh, you get this. I think you've gotten this one before, but I will say it anyway. Passion. Got lots of passion here. Archangel Hidell, trust and follow your renewed passion for your love life and or career, or both. I feel like things have been a little stale lately. Usually when I tap into your energy, like I love your energy, Lynn. It's very sparkly and very like this. But I feel I'm getting like the number 3, so I don't know if it's 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, but I feel like you've been like a little, like flat. I don't know if you're not feeling well or if you're just, your motivation was a little bit low, but this card is saying Archangel Hidell is working with you and trying to help you to get motivated and to get, kind of going again. Okay. So I hope that helps, Lynn. I don't know if you're still on the broadcast, but I feel like you need a little pep in your step. Maybe go out, maybe drink, a nice big tall glass of water, like something that renews you. Sometimes we think, oh, I'll just watch some TV. That doesn't renew you. Watching TV doesn't renew, rejuvenate, regenerate. Usually we have to like eat well, exercise, do something that like kind of pulls it in. Lynn said she's recently seen 33, and yes, recently was very stagnant. So Archangel Hidell is working with you to renew, okay? Renew, get your mojo back. I feel like you just need a little sparkle, Lynn. That's what I feel like you need. Okay. All right. So I hope that helps everybody. And by the way, if you guys have things you would like me to talk about on these Monday night broadcasts, or, if you have a question that you would like me to answer on air or talk about on air, please let me know. And you can send me a private message and I'll talk about it. Oop, sorry about that. Another Monday night, I'll talk about those things. Somebody was calling me. I apologize. So let me pull a card for everybody. These are Archangel decks. I've been really into the Archangels lately. I had a card try to fly out there. What does everybody need to know that's watching this broadcast as we go through Thanksgiving, as we get into this Mercury and Neptune, and then we have the full moon coming over the weekend? What does everybody need to know that is either here live or watching the pre-recorded? What does everybody need to know for the week coming ahead? Ooh, there's a lot of energy. Beautiful card. Nurture. If you can see, all the angels are nurturing the little baby. Okay, Archangel Gabriel. You guys know I talked about Gabriel last week, and by the way, if you didn't watch that broadcast, you should, because it was about Archangel Gabriel. As you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child, and both activities are important for you right now. I'll just say this. Sometimes Thanksgiving holidays are fun and wonderful and all that good stuff, okay? But sometimes they bring up family stuff. Sometimes they can bring up stuff within us. And also it could be triggering or whatever if we're not with our family, okay? If we have to Zoom-skiving, do a Zoom-skiving or a Skype Thanksgiving, and we can't be with people, that could be triggering. So to remember to nurture yourself, okay? It's just a day. I know human ritual is so important. Human ritual is so important. It's something that we're actually really lacking in our culture. In other cultures, they have a lot of human ritual, but really it's one of those things that now more than ever we crave these rituals, yet we're being sort of prevented from having ritual, not in the same way that we have always done. But the key is to still honor and have ritual, for ourselves. I, for one, am making, I have my little heart set on making a vegan, healthy, gluten-free, green bean casserole. I've never tried making this before, and I'm gonna make it. I'm looking forward, in other words, I set something up for myself to look forward to. But that's what I feel like we need to do, and we need to nurture our inner child and nurture ourselves. Paul said, you are embracing your inner child every day. Yes. It's something that we have to do. We have to just embrace ourselves and know that it's okay, because right now things are hard. You know, like, let's face it, the world is hard right now. Thanksgiving's gonna maybe be hard for some of us, and all that stuff. So let's all, like, just love our inner child. Let's watch, you know, the Peanuts Thanksgiving episode, you know, or do something that's part of your ritual that you maybe can't do the full thing, but maybe you could do part of it, or like elements of it, and recreate the feeling, you know, because we want to do, you might not be able to do the activity, but you want to do the feeling that you get from that Thanksgiving and the sharing. So hopefully that will help. So I love all of you. Thank you so much for joining. If you'd like to schedule a personalized session with me, please send me a text message or a DM, but text message is better. And my cell phone number is on my website, GretchenHidell.com. It's on my profile and all that stuff. I'm old fashioned. You can just text me. So, all right, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope this astrology update was good for you all and gave you lots to think about. And if you guys have any topics that you would like me to cover or answer questions, you can also send me a private message, and I'd love to be able to do that. Not that I'm giving readings privately through message, but if you want me to discuss something on one of my Monday night broadcasts and give me some ideas, that would be fine too. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Lots of love. Mwah. Have a good night. Namaste.